The night sky had always been humanity's oldest mystery, a silent vault of stars above every generation that ever lived. But tonight, the stars moved. In the deserts of Nevada, under the hush of an unbroken horizon, radar operators watched in confusion as a shape appeared where no shape should be. It was not a meteor, nor a rogue satellite. It was deliberate, slow, a vast crescent of reflected light bending gravity in ways no human machine could. Object still approaching, a voice crackled over the NORAD comms. No response to hails. Velocity, dropping. They're stopping. Stopping. That word meant only one thing. By the time the object was visible to the naked eye, the Pentagon had gone dark. Across the Atlantic, in bunkers buried beneath the Alps, the European defense net came online. In Beijing, in Delhi, in Moscow, leaders were awakened and briefed by pale-faced aides. Humanity had long prepared for this possibility, but deep down, everyone believed it would never actually happen. And then the sky broke. It arrived without thunder or flame, not as a streaking meteor, not as a roaring warship. It simply appeared, as though reality had been waiting for the right second to place it there. The vessel was a cathedral of obsidian metal and pale blue fire, stretching 2 kilometers from spire to keel. Its surface shimmered with unreadable symbols that seemed to crawl like living things, glowing faintly against the night. For 3 hours, it just hovered. No sound. No broadcast. No weapons discharge. Every nation held its breath, hands poised over launch keys, waiting for the first move. Humanity's orbital defenses, crude but formidable, swiveled toward the intruder, ready to unleash everything Earth had. Then, at 3:17 Universal Time Coordinated, a single pulse of light erupted from the ship, fanning across the planet like the dawn. Every screen, every radio, every speaker and satellite phone lit up with the same voice, smooth, resonant, almost soothing. Children of Earth. We are the Ketheri. We come in peace. The words echoed across languages, perfectly translated, resonating as though spoken inside every human mind. Relief swept the planet, but it was thin, fragile. The message continued. We have watched your species rise from the mud of your homeworld. Your struggles, your wars, your triumphs, all have been recorded. The Council of Civilizations now deems you ready. We extend to you the hand of the stars. Join us. It should have been a moment of celebration, the moment humanity had waited for since the first radio signal left Earth. But in the war room beneath the Pentagon, General Marcus Hale stared at the display with the expression of a man looking at a weapon he didn't yet understand. Join us, he repeated grimly. That's not a request. That's an invitation you can't refuse. First contact was made at dawn. By noon, every capital had agreed to a joint diplomatic envoy, the first in human history. The world, fractured and scarred by centuries of division, was suddenly united by the presence of the impossible. The Ketheri descended their ramp in the middle of the Nevada desert, greeted by soldiers, scientists, and heads of state. They were taller than humans, their forms sheathed in silvery exosuits that seemed to flow like liquid. Their faces, if they were faces, were smooth masks with deep-set, crystalline eyes. Their leader spoke first, voice warm and commanding. We offer you a place among the stars. Technology beyond your imagining. Worlds to colonize. Foes to stand against together. But first, you must prove yourselves worthy. A challenge. A test. The human delegation stiffened. Dr. Evelyn Reyes, lead astrophysicist for the mission, stepped forward, her voice calm but cutting. Humanity has been proving itself for 10,000 years, she said. We built civilizations from stone, split the atom, touched the moon. What more must we prove? The alien leader regarded her in silence. Then, almost imperceptibly, it smiled. You must prove that you are what we believe you are. The supreme force this galaxy has long awaited. Murmurs swept the human delegation. Supreme Force? Awaited? Before anyone could ask what that meant, the Ketheri gestured, and a hologram shimmered into the air, depicting stars scattered across a galactic map. World after world burned red. The galaxy is not safe, the Ketheri said softly. There are empires that devour entire species. There are horrors that erase worlds from existence. And there is one threat we cannot face alone. The hologram shifted again, this time showing something that made even the seasoned generals pale. A shape that blotted out suns. A living machine, larger than moons, bristling with appendages. The Ketheri's voice grew heavy. The Veilborn are coming. The room fell silent. Dr. Reyes swallowed. And you think, we can stop them? The Ketheri's crystalline eyes gleamed like a challenge. We do not think. We know. For the first time in history, humanity felt the weight of the galaxy pressing down on its shoulders. This was not just an invitation, it was a call to war. In the hours that followed, Earth's leaders met in secret session. The Ketheri remained patient, waiting like statues. General Hale broke the silence first. If they're telling the truth, we're standing at the edge of extinction, not just ours, but everyone's. If they're lying, it's the best trap in history. President Adebayo of Nigeria leaned forward, her voice steel. Then we do what humanity has always done when faced with annihilation. We prepare. Dr. Reyes looked out the window at the hovering ship, its shadow falling across the desert like the blade of a guillotine. Prepare, she whispered. Or become prey. And so, humanity made its decision. Earth would answer the call. But what no one yet understood, not even the Ketheri, was that this decision would awaken something in humanity that had slept for far too long. Something older than civilization, older than fear. Something that would make the galaxy tremble. The desert was never quiet again after that day. At dawn, a fleet of shuttles descended from the Ketheri ship, unloading crates of alien technology onto the sand. Engines hummed with impossible harmonics, energy shields flickered like auroras, and weapons no human eye had ever seen glimmered under the rising sun. It was humanity's first taste of the stars. And we devoured it. Across the planet, scientists worked without sleep, reverse engineering alien devices with the fevered obsession of a species that had always broken its own limits. What the Ketheri expected to take decades, humans managed in weeks. Dr. Evelyn Reyes stood in the Nevada hangar, arms crossed, watching as a prototype gravitic drive spun up for the first time under human control. The engineers cheered as the machine lifted a tank off the floor, silently, effortlessly, and held it suspended in midair. 2 weeks, Reyes muttered, almost in disbelief. It took them 2 weeks. General Hale stood beside her, grim but proud. We've always been fast learners. They gave us a matchstick. We're building a bonfire. Outside, a squadron of jet fighters screamed overhead, except they were no longer powered by jet engines. They left no contrails, no sonic booms. They moved like blades of light, twisting through maneuvers impossible for any pilot just months ago. Humanity was changing. And the galaxy was starting to notice. Far above Earth, in the Ketheri command ship, 3 alien envoys watched the progress unfold with growing unease. This is faster than projected, one murmured, its crystalline eyes flickering. They are adapting too well, said another. No species has ever reverse-engineered our technology so quickly. Even the Tharn took 3 centuries to master gravity drives. The leader said nothing for a long moment, watching as a live feed displayed humans welding a massive starship frame in orbit, a warship design of their own, not a Ketheri copy. They are not like the others, the leader said finally. Perhaps the legends are true. The others exchanged uneasy glances. Legends. Whispers spoken across eons of galactic history, warning of a species that would rise from a backwater world and tip the balance of power forever. On Earth, preparations turned into something more, something the Ketheri had not anticipated. It began with the first strike exercises. The Ketheri offered simulations, fleets of holographic enemies, data of ancient battles, tactics used against the Veilborn. But humanity refused to play by the script. In the first war game, human pilots tore apart the simulation's logic within hours, using maneuvers so reckless and unpredictable that even the Ketheri tacticians were left speechless. "They treat war like a dance," one alien observer said. "No," General Hale corrected coldly. "They treat war like a hunt." Word spread quickly across the stars. From the shining halls of the Azrael emperors to the cold, dark nests of the Voke brood, whispers traveled faster than light. The humans are awakening. For some, it was hope. For others, terror. 3 months after first contact, Earth launched its first true starship. The UNS Valiant was not beautiful, she was all steel and fury, her hull bristling with railguns, missile batteries, and human-built plasma lances. She was not designed to explore. She was designed to kill. As the Valiant's engines roared to life, Dr. Reyes stood on the launch platform, helmet under her arm, heart pounding in her chest. "We're really doing this," she whispered. General Hale nodded. "The Ketheri said we must prove ourselves. So we will." The Valiant vanished into the void in a flash of gravitic light, humanity's first step into the war-torn galaxy. Their first mission was supposed to be simple: respond to a distress call from a fringe world under attack by raiders. It was not simple. When the Valiant arrived, they found the planet burning. Orbital platforms were shattered, cities turned to glass, millions dead. The raiders were not pirates, as the Ketheri had suggested. They were an organized war clan, ships black as pitch, hunting survivors for sport. Captain Reyes gave no quarter. For 3 hours, the void burned with human wrath. The Valiant struck like a thunderbolt, ripping through enemy ships with impossible precision. Railguns fired at near light speed, tearing holes clean through the raider fleet. Missiles tracked fleeing vessels, hunting them down across the system until nothing remained but silence. When the smoke cleared, the survivors of the planet stared upward, not in fear, but in awe. The galaxy had seen human war for the first time. And it would never forget. When the Valiant returned, the Ketheri delegation awaited them in orbit. "You were not ordered to annihilate them," one envoy said sharply. "You were instructed to defend the colony." Captain Reyes stepped off the gangway, her armor still scorched from battle. "We did defend them," she said flatly. "There will be no more raids. Ever." The envoy's crystalline eyes pulsed faintly, a gesture that might have been fear. "You are more efficient than expected," it said carefully. General Hale smiled without humor. "You wanted us to prove ourselves? We're just getting started." In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed faster than anyone could keep up. Human warships multiplied in orbit. Shipyards worked without pause, birthing destroyers, carriers, and strike craft. Each one was more advanced than the last, as humans improved on Ketheri technology at a rate no one believed possible. And in the dark between stars, other powers began to stir. The Tharn Collective mobilized its fleets, suddenly wary of the upstart species from Sol. The Azrael emperors dispatched spies to learn what humanity was building. Even the Voke brood, a species that feared nothing, began pulling its patrols away from human space. The galaxy was beginning to understand. Humanity was not merely joining the stars. Humanity was taking them. Far away, in a chamber deep within the Ketheri ship, the 3 envoys met in secret. "We have woken something," one said, voice almost trembling. "Yes," another replied. "But perhaps that is what the galaxy needs." The leader remained silent, watching the human fleets take shape. "If the Veilborn truly come," it said at last, "they may find that we have given them their executioners." But a darker thought crept through its crystalline mind, one it did not dare speak aloud. What if the humans were not the galaxy's saviors? What if they were its next great terror? The warning came at midnight. Sensors across the outer sectors screamed as the first Veilborn fleet entered known space. They did not come like an invading army. They came like a storm. Entire stars went dark as they passed. Space itself seemed to shudder, as though recoiling from what crawled through it. The Ketheri envoy appeared on every human channel, its crystalline eyes blazing. They are here. And with that, the war humanity had been preparing for truly began. The UNS Valiant led the charge. She was no longer alone, behind her trailed an entire human battle group, forged in steel and fire. Carriers, cruisers, and destroyers spread across the void, their hulls painted with the flags of every nation on Earth. Humanity was united in a way it had never been before. On the bridge of the Valiant, Captain Reyes stood at the command chair, her face lit by the glow of tactical displays. Beside her, General Hale clasped the rail, his voice low and steady. Target vector locked. All batteries ready. Then we go, Reyes said. And humanity went to war. The first sight of the Veilborn nearly broke even the hardened crews. They were living titans, biomechanical nightmares that writhed through space, their hulls a churning mass of tendrils and weapon flesh. Their ships did not move like machines but like predators, twisting and coiling as if tasting the stars. Then they opened fire. Energy beams scythed through space, tearing apart a Ketheri escort cruiser in a single strike. Whole chunks of rock vaporized from a nearby asteroid belt. And still, the Valiant held course. Return fire. Reyes barked. The void lit up with the fury of 1,000 guns. Railguns thundered, their slugs glowing white-hot as they ripped through Veilborn flesh. Plasma lances carved burning scars across enemy hulls. Human torpedoes swarmed like hornets, detonating with blinding light that turned darkness into day. The Veilborn staggered, not because they had never been attacked, but because no prey had ever hit them this hard. Across the galaxy, observers watched the battle through relay feeds. The Azrael emperors leaned forward in their jeweled thrones, silent. The Tharn warlords hissed in disbelief as human ships pulled maneuvers that defied their simulations. Even the Voke, who had never feared anything, went quiet. For the first time in recorded history, the Veilborn were being pushed back. But they were not defeated yet. From the darkness came more, dozens, then hundreds of Veilborn warforms, converging on the human fleet. The void howled with their shrieks, a sound felt in the bones more than heard. On the Valiant, alarms screamed. Multiple contacts, they're surrounding us. Hold formation. Reyes snapped. Bring the Atlas array online. The crew hesitated. The array was experimental, humanity's deadliest weapon, a planet cracker scaled for war. No one had ever fired it outside of simulation. General Hale's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Do it. The array unfolded from the Valiant's spine, glowing like a newborn star. Power surged through the ship, lights dimming as the core bled every joule into the weapon. Target lock. Fire. A single beam erupted, thin, blinding, impossibly bright. It sliced through space like the finger of a god. The nearest Veilborn dreadnought was cut clean in half, its halves spinning away as a silent explosion of ichor boiled into the void. Smaller ships simply disintegrated, their hulls turned to plasma in microseconds. The galaxy watched. And understood. The battle raged for hours. The Veilborn came in waves, but humanity did not falter. Ship after ship fought until their guns ran dry, then rammed their enemies to take them down with them. When the last Veilborn retreated, limping back into the void from which they had come, the human fleet stood bloodied but unbroken. The stars were quiet again. In the aftermath, the Ketheri envoys descended once more, this time bowing, actually bowing, before the human commanders. You have done what no other species has ever done, their leader said. You faced the Veilborn and drove them back. The galaxy owes you its survival. Captain Reyes removed her helmet, her face streaked with soot and sweat. We didn't do this for the galaxy, she said. We did it because no one attacks us and lives. The envoy's crystalline eyes pulsed with something like awe. Then perhaps, it said softly, the legends were true after all. Weeks later, a new council convened on a station orbiting Sol. But this time, it was not the Ketheri who presided, it was humanity. Representatives from every major species gathered, their fleets hovering nervously nearby. General Hale stood at the center of the chamber, his voice carrying like thunder. The galaxy asked if humanity was ready, he said. You have your answer. We will stand with you against the Veilborn. We will fight for peace. But hear this. He leaned forward, his eyes hard as steel. If any empire thinks to challenge Earth, to enslave, to raid, to threaten what we've built, you will not find prey. You will find predators. No one argued. Far beyond the council, in the uncharted void, the Veilborn stirred again, but now, they hesitated. For the first time in their long existence, they had found something that fought back. Something that could kill them. And so, the galaxy was quiet. Not with peace. But with fear. Because now everyone knew. Humanity was the supreme force of the galaxy. And we were just getting started.